Hello, guys, and welcome to your very own Tech and More. I hope you guys are doing awesome and you continue to do so. Now, folks, about this video, about this playlist. I got a lot of requests. So they say that yes, your playlist that is Salesforce concepts to know as a Salesforce tester, and then my playlist on automation testing and QA in general, and about sales. I mean, I would say about the podcast and interviews that we do. All that is going well, but one of the query came in that we have learned the concepts, but now we want the most famous interview questions that we can practice from, right? Because when we go for interviews, it usually happens that there are some questions asked to us. It can be very theoretical or very practical questions, but we fail to answer them perfectly. Yes, we are able to answer them because we know the concepts, but we fail to answer them perfectly, right? So as I always say, that none of your requests that you put on Tech and More goes in vain. Here I am. I have started this playlist, and in this playlist, we'll be discussing all the very important and famous interview questions that you require from the Salesforce testing perspective, right? And if you're planning to get into admin as well, this playlist can be helpful to you as well, right? So, what exactly encompasses these videos is that I will be going through one question one by one, all in all, that will have the answers. And the best part you ask is that it will have the practical explanations, right? So let's say there's a question, and of course there's an answer that I'll share you with. But wherever required, if we have to, show that answer practically, for you to better absorb that answer, I'll be doing that, right? So, guys, a little bit about me. You can see on the screen, I have taken more than 350 interviews till date, in different domains for IT. So I have curated this list. Right? Of course, I cannot cover all the questions because that's not doable. Everybody thinks in a different way. But I could come out with some very basic questions, and I hope that these questions, the answers, and the practical examples I give you while explaining these questions help you. But still, if you have any, if you have any asks or any demand from your Tech and More creator, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to help. So yeah, I think that's all. That's the introduction. Let's start with the first question. So the first one is that why is Salesforce testing skill set high in demand, right? Uh, you might feel that this is a very, very theoretical, a very general question, but and you might feel that this is not that important, but it is, right? Because if you see that there has been a trend, that testing jobs are coming more for Salesforce nowadays, right? So, but previously we did not see that for QA you were asked to be proficient in any platform. So usually it would be functional tester or a manual tester or an automation tester, like that, right? But right now it's more that yes, you have to be a testing expert, but if you know Salesforce, I mean, sky's the limit for you, right? So why is that happening? So, guys, I have a video created specifically on this particular topic, and I'm going to share the link of that video in the description as well. Plus, I'm going to share the URL to this slide in the description, so you can take because there are going to be multiple URLs, so you can take it from there. But all in all, Salesforce is a market leader in CRM industry. Understand this. This is very critical, right? Because when a product is very famous in the industry, when more people are using it, they require more people like you and me, for example, developers or QAs or BAs. So when there is high demand, the supply has to be high as well. So that is number one. Number two is it has a very strong global community. That is, Salesforce, as you know, is quite famous, and you must have, I mean, of course, I need not tell you what Salesforce is. So since it's so famous, since so it's so common these days, it has a very, very strong community. So wherever you need any help, you will be given that. Then lastly, we have the exponential demand of Salesforce solutions. This is very similar to the first one, because the more the people move into Salesforce, more people will be required to implement Salesforce, develop Salesforce functionalities, test them, right? So we as per my experience, do not quote this anywhere, right? This is no official data per se, but as per my experience, I have concluded that approximately 30 to 40% higher CTCs are offered to you if you come out as a Salesforce tester, right? And I feel that this amount is quite good, because let's say if you are getting 100 rupees, just as an example, if you're getting 100 rupees, you will directly get 130 rupees, right? So that's a huge jump. So I feel that for you, learning Salesforce is very important. And whenever you're asked such a question, you might simply tell these pointers. But yes, if you need more details, as I already said, I'll be sharing this deck in the video description. That deck will have the URLs mentioned there, so you can go and access those videos from there as well. Or if you would like to explore the channel more, that is Tech and More that you're watching right now, just go ahead and just deep dive into it. All the videos are already there, right? So that's question number one. Then question number two is that what are few known challenges for Salesforce testing? Again, we have another video already created, already published on Tech and More, but quickly we'll go through this. Guys, number one is frequent releases, right? So in Salesforce, we have 3 releases scheduled for every year, which is summer, spring, and winter, right? Now, I think it's actually good that Salesforce is so dynamic and it keeps itself updated. But as testers, as QA engineers, you have to run the entire regression suite in every release, because when a new release comes, there are going to be changes, there are going to be enhancements, bug fixes, and that might impact your existing test cases or your existing functionalities, right? So you have to do that. So it is a repetitive task. And mind you, that is where automation helps. So you can mention this pointer as well. That will be a brownie point for you. Then secondly, we have high skill integration. So guys, in Salesforce, yes, we do learn Salesforce and everything. That's fine. But a very critical part of Salesforce is that it has a lot of integrations. That is, a lot of different applications are mapped to Salesforce, and the data is flowing in that manner. So you have to be very, very sure that Salesforce, while you're testing out Salesforce functionalities, you have to be mindful of the third-party systems and data flow and everything. So that becomes the second challenge. Then the third one is that there are some differences between Lightning and Classic, right? So you have to be very sure that whichever functionality you're testing, how is it behaving in Lightning and how is it behaving in Classic, right? So that's question number two. Again, you have the explanation link here, so you can go ahead and access it from the video description. Cool. So I hope that the second question is clear to you now. Okay, so question number three is that explain your understanding. I'll highlight it for you. Explain your understanding around CRM and multi-tenant architecture. This is very important, folks. So, we all say that, okay, Salesforce, and everything. And I have witnessed this on my own. So we do talk about Salesforce a lot, and there are people who know Salesforce. But when I say, okay, if you say that Salesforce is a CRM, what is a CRM, right? So, and you'll be surprised to know that a lot of folks do not know the answer to it, right? So a CRM is basically a customer relationship management system, right? That helps businesses manages their interaction with the customer. Now, this is a theoretical definition. You might say, okay, you might say this we could have read on the internet as well or on Google as well. So what differentiates, or how would you explain it better? So imagine that you go to a supermarket, right? And in that supermarket, you select your products and you go to the billing counter. Now the billing chap will take your products and they'll start scanning it and adding it to your list, right? Then they'll give out an invoice to you. Might be you are a recurring customer, so they will have some points for you. Now, how do you think that all this data, all these functionalities, that is adding your products via scanning, creating a list, having the bill for you, recurring customer if you are, you have these points added, and then maybe you get a message on your phone, all these functionalities, uh, the system which is being used by the person who is behind the computer, behind the laptop, is basically a CRM. It's a very simple or an amateur definition. I can go more technical, but for now, understand that a system or a solution that manages the customer's data and provides different functionalities is termed as a customer relationship management system. And Salesforce is a type of CRM. Salesforce is a type of CRM. So next time, if somebody asks you that what is a CRM, you will say that CRM is, or rather, it stands for Customer Relationship Management System. It's a software that basically manages the data of the consumers and provides different functionalities around it, right? And take the analogy of the supermarket that I just told you, or take the analogy of a bank. When you go to a bank, there's a person who will tell you your balance, or maybe who will deposit the cash, or maybe talk about the loan and everything. So they open the computer and they enter your data, or they tell you something of for which loan are you eligible, all these things. The system that they're accessing to tell you the data, to share the information with you, is a CRM. That is, your customer or your data is present in that system, and then multiple things happen around it, right? So that is what a CRM is. Now, the next part is that what is a multi-tenant architecture? This is very critical, because uh, Salesforce revolves around it, right? So just focus yourself on this image which I'm highlighting now, right? So this is a building, and in this building you have multiple apartments or multiple flats, right? Now in Salesforce basically uses this multi-tenant architecture that basically in raw English means that there are multiple tenants living in the same building. Similar to that on Salesforce, if I am using Salesforce, if I'm buying Salesforce for my company, and if you're buying Salesforce for your company, we sit on the same server, we sit on the same domain, right? So I mean, you might say that my address in so and so, and I would say my address is so and so, right? Just the flat numbers would change. In the Salesforce context, your data and everything sits on the same server, but it is highly secure, so it's not that your data can be accessed by somebody, right? So basically you're sharing the space with somebody else. That is what multi-tenant architecture in IT basically means. Cool. So that is question number 3 for you. I hope that this is clear. If you have any questions, just feel free to comment, and we'll be more than happy to help you. Okay, guys. So this is question number 3. Then question number 4 is, okay, I am going to just remove this and then make these again. I somehow like explaining with these boxes because it helps the context. Yeah. Anyway, coming back. So the fourth question is that what is the difference between Salesforce.com and Force.com? This is a question that I feel a lot of people get confused with, because yes, you hear about Salesforce, but when I say okay, Salesforce.com and Force.com, you would say, "Oh, I think these are just plain websites, right?" But it's not. So let's first understand it with an analogy. Analogy is basically that I will give you an example of something that you already know, so you'll be able to better correlate it with the technical concept, right? So I'm sorry. So analogy is that force.com is consider you if you're using Android or iOS, right? So in Android or iOS, you basically have this platform on which you build applications, right? You have Android developers, you have iOS developers. So Android or iOS gives you a platform on which the applications can be built. Okay. So and then in iOS, when you create different applications, for example, just focus yourself here where I'm highlighting right now. So if you have this iPhone application wherein you have the phone app or the contacts app, or in Android you have the phone app or the messages app, or maybe any any platform app, right? Any maybe Zomato or Flipkart or anything of that sort, right? So these are applications, right? Now let's compare them with Force.com and Salesforce.com. Okay, so mm, 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 just focus yourself on. Cool. So guys, force.com is equals to iOS. That is, force.com is basically the platform which is given to you to build applications on it, right? Then you have salesforce.com is equals to iPhone application. That is the different applications that you build in Salesforce, right? So these applications you're building on the force.com platform, right? So consider force.com as the base, as the parent, right? And then you have different applications being built on the force.com platform, right? Some examples can be force.com, of course, we've already talked about. So I'm just going to change the color now. So force.com is basically for infrastructure and code base, I mean, the platform, right? And then an example for Salesforce.com can be that Salesforce.com is apps built on Salesforce. For example, you have an HR management application, you have a social CRM, you have these different applications built. So they are basically applications, right? Again, very quickly, if you understand the analogy of iOS platform and iOS applications, it's similar. Force.com is equivalent to iOS platform, and Salesforce.com is equivalent to applications in iPhone or iOS or Android, right? So that's question number 4 for you. Okay, now question number 5. That is, what is the relevance of a dev org in Salesforce? This is very important because if you have watched my playlist on Salesforce concepts to know as a Salesforce tester, I think you already know that. But if you haven't, that's okay. So I'll quickly explain it to you. First, let's focus on the theoretical definition. Then I'll show it to you in live. So a developer org in Salesforce is a free personal environment provided by Salesforce that allows developers to build, test, and experiment with custom applications or configuration, right? Let's simplify it now. I will navigate you to a dev org. So cool. So now if you focus yourself on the screen right now, you see that there is a website. in very amateur words, there's a website opened up, right? And you see these different buttons and these different text and everything, right? This is what a Salesforce dev looks like, right? So guys, understand one thing, that Salesforce is paid. It's a paid software. You have to buy licenses, right? But now imagine that people like you and me who want to work in the Salesforce domain, who want to build build applications on Salesforce or call themselves a Salesforce consultant, we'll have to first learn it, right? So it's very critical that to learn, we have to have the exposure to Salesforce, but it has to be free of cost, right? Because when I'm learning something, when something is for learning, it's better to have be free of cost, because I'm not going to pay 200 US dollars or 300 US dollars for just learning, right? So number one is the reason. Number two is that when clients want to go for Salesforce, they would, want some sort of a demo or some sort of a trial on what Salesforce looks like, right? So, and of course, there are different ways to demo, but I'm just giving a very simple example for now. So these two reasons is why Salesforce came up with the concept of DevOps, right? So in the case of DevOps, you will have the access to all of Salesforce features, all of Salesforce functionality. You'll have access to setup, right? All these things you'll have. So you can get to know more about Salesforce. You learn more about it, right? And you train yourself in it. Now, the limitation is that, of course, if it gives you everything which is there in paid, who would go for paid licenses, right? The only difference is that there is a restriction on the number of users, right? So you can only create, or rather, you can only use 2 Salesforce licenses. You can create numerous users, but you can use only 2 licenses, right? Not more than that in Salesforce DevOps. And that makes another question, that someone might ask you that I have a statement which says that I will create a dev org and I should be able to only create 2 new users. Is this true or false? That's false, right? You will be able to create multiple users, but you will be able to assign those Salesforce licenses only to 2 users. That's what it is, right? So that talks about the dev org in general, right? Now, uh, we have 4 more questions, right? So guys, I have divided these questions into different categories. It can be generic, it can be report related or object configuration related. So for this video and the next video, it's going to be the generic or the miscellaneous questions, right? And then going forward, whenever I start with a new category, I'll be creating a new video and I'll be mentioning that at the very start of the video itself. For now, there are going to be 2 videos around generic Salesforce testing questions. This is video number 1, or rather the introduction of the playlist of Salesforce testing interview questions. And then second video, I'm going to discuss 4 or 5 more questions around it. And then after that, we'll start with a new category. But all in all, if you want to prepare for your Salesforce testing interview, just focus on these questions. Just focus on this playlist, and we you're all covered. So I'll not extend this video more than that, because I genuinely feel that the video should be short. Of course, the learning videos cannot be 2 or 3 minutes. They have to be 10, 12 minutes, but not more than that. So I'm going to post another video wherein I'm going to talk about more interview questions. And then, we have a lot of questions planned for Salesforce testing. And I feel if you're preparing for an interview, just go ahead and just watch the videos in this entire playlist, and I think you'll be all covered. And one more thing, guys, if you want any guidance or any mentorship about any of your career, it can be a mentorship, it can be a resume review, it can be some guidance, it can be mock interviews, it can be live trainings, right? So anything you need, I will be sharing my link on TopMate, wherein you can book an appointment with me. Or if you want any other help, or just generic thing, just feel free to ping me on LinkedIn. I'll be more than happy to help, right? So yeah, that's all for now, and see you in the next video, wherein we'll be talking about more Salesforce testing interview questions, right? I hope that this video was helpful to you, and yeah, thank you so much, and take care. Bye bye.